Hello there. Welcome, everybody, to Mastering the Drop, a real view of recovery. This week is a little bit different. As you can see, I'm here by myself, not necessarily by design. However, such an amazing opportunity for us to have this conversation. And why not? We've been on a journey for the last 29 weeks. Whether you know it or you don't know it, we've been on a very specific journey. We've been doing some very specific focus in a very specific order on purpose. and I've been sharing with you, whether that is in social media posts or even those longer ones that read more like a blog, that tell a little bit of a story, take you on a journey. All of this has been, for, again, the last 29 weeks, very specific in taking you through the processes of creating, cultivating, and developing the psychological skill sets and tactics that not only do we use at the Turning Leaves practice with clients, but that I personally eat, sleep, and breathe in my life every day for the last 9 years, which allows me to, even in days, well, like yesterday and the day before, where I was feeling really flat and had to move into a space of true self-observation, to uncover what was keeping me in this like super mundane space. But that I eat, sleep, and breathe allows me to actually enjoy experiencing living and truly be happy with how I see myself functioning in my life, how I see myself engaging and interacting with my environment, how I see myself responding to what happens in day-to-day life, in the world, even when it's not directly affecting, my everyday day in and day out life, because, well, if we stay within the confines of our home, then, then maybe not as much drama happens or trauma or, derailing things. Right. So we've been on this journey of learning and cultivating. And again, if you've been following along and you are one of the folks that follow me, very with intention and purpose, yay, great. Thank you so much for being here. If you're new here and you haven't been following along for the last 29 weeks, absolutely poke around the YouTube page. All weekly tips and tactics are there. Every Mastering the Drop, a real view of recovery, is there. And you're more than welcome to poke around. You can also just reach out and I'll help you kind of figure out where maybe you want to start. But besides that, let's talk about this, because our topic today is about creating our mastery, about knowing what tools to use when, which ones to carry with us, which ones we need, all the time. And I want to say this, our recovery journeys are very specific and unique to each and every one of us. There isn't we're not all walking through life. Every client isn't doing life the exact same way. I don't do my life the exact same way, because there is uniqueness to every single day. And so it's about knowing what you need when. And so that takes cultivating, that takes conditioning, that takes observation, and it takes a desire. So what I know to be true is that we are a very goal-oriented society. We set a goal, we achieve it, and we move on. Or we set a goal and we miss it, and then maybe we go into some self-defeated behavior, depending upon what that is. And again, everybody that's listening here has different reasons for listening. Some folks, have an addiction to food or sugar. Other people might be struggling with their relationship with alcohol or other chemical substances. But then there's a whole bunch of people that I know are listening that are those people-pleasing codependents that really rely on the valuation and validation of other people. There are people that rely on things like, their workout, these habits that hold us hostage day in and day out, these things that are truly negative attachments in our life that keep us from growing, changing, shifting, transforming. And then again, those true addictions that really leave us in a stuck position. So, if we're talking in terms of goals, I first and foremost like to shift that into more of an aspiration. And there's a reason for that, because again, a goal is something that, you either hit or you miss, and there's a lot of pressure in them. And there's often also not a very healthy relationship that happens inside of us with whatever that goal might be. So if we're looking more at an aspiration, something that we aspire to attain, achieve, experience, whatever, now we're in a different headspace. Now we're thinking differently. We're looking at this and we're saying, what systems, what processes, what events or research or whatever do I need to get this in motion, right? It's more of an engagement, if you will, in our daily lives. So now if we have these aspirations and we are systematically going through and saying, what do I need to do? We're going to put together a system, a process, a step-by-step action plan. We're going to be looking at things that we need to do, that we need to incorporate, that we need to bring into our life that are going to foster this change, to foster the growth, to foster the knowledge, to foster the healing, right? Because there's so many things that we have to bring in. And if we're in a recovery journey, one of the first things we have to look at is, what do we want? What do we need to remove? What is no longer serving me? And excuse me, I'm going to take a little bit of a drink here. So what is no longer serving me? What isn't producing outcomes that I desire? What isn't producing feelings that I enjoy having? What isn't, feeding my soul? And what is truly keeping me stuck, held hostage, and unable to move forward in the direction that I want? And so, we got to start at the beginning. And so, that oftentimes looks like, what? I get it. Ever since the pandemic hit, my workload decreased. I wrote an entire really long post this morning. But I was pulled in to write it. But there's a lot of folks that can identify with this. Ever since the pandemic, my work in general has either ceased or drastically reduced, and I'm home a lot more, and I get to engage with my family a lot more. But in that, I also feel stuck in these activities of daily living that don't bring me a sense of purpose, of fulfillment. And it's because we're looking at them the wrong way. We're looking at them as chores, to-dos, or whatever, instead of looking at them as gifts that we are able to do in time and space. But we're feeling stuck. And now suddenly I find that, in this period, I've been, eating more, drinking more, exercising less, being sedentary, whatever it is, right? Y'all can add, edit, delete, put your own spin on that. But I know a lot of us have really increased our alcohol intake because of some of these feelings that are going on inside. We just feel stuck. We feel flat. We feel mundane. We feel, I could just go on and on and on with adjectives. So, we have to look at, what do I need to do first? Well, sometimes, it's put down the drink is sometimes first. Other times it's more about changing that headspace around where we're holding negative space, that we could actually hold purposeful space, fulfilling space, find meaning, right? We're all in a persistent, we're all in a pursuit of happiness. It's just some of us are more persistent about it than others. And so if you're not in a persistent pursuit, how do we get you there? How do we inspire you and intrigue you enough to get there? And so that's where these aspirations come in. And so we have to look at aspirations and really identify what those are. So, obviously, with this episode being just with me, we're going to be here for a lot less time. And I just, again, want to thank you so much for being here and listening. Hopefully I haven't lost you yet with where my train of thought is with today. Because it's very important that we're getting into the right headspace. So if we're feeling stuck and we're feeling like we need to have goals and we need to make some, drastic changes, that fosters that all in and all out way of doing things. And if you listen to me frequently, you know exactly where I'm going with this. But for those of you, and it's springtime, so for those of you who are getting ready to do your spring crash diet / increase your physical fitness, because summer is coming months and I must be bikini ready, you're getting ready to go back into that all in because you moved into that all out after your New Year's resolution, and it's time to do it again. And so you have this cycle of all in or all out. So, we want to take a look at that. How can you make these changes and these adjustments so that they're lifelong, manageable, and maintainable? Now you're just going to have a dietary practice, a lifestyle that has a different relationship with food and exercise, that is with the purpose and intent of cultivating a healthy lifestyle, one that allows you to never worry about, dropping the 15 or 20 pounds that you put on because you walked away from your physical fitness and dietary practices again, right? So you want to look at that. How can we make it lifelong, manageable, and maintainable? So there are some things that you can do, and I'm definitely going to be listing them below in the comments so have them. But you can also grab a pen and a paper and write some things down. So number one, I want you to every day, I want you to do some things that foster feelings of competency, right? Sometimes we're not feeling competent. And so we want to take a look at that. Why am I not feeling competent? What can I add or shift or change up a little bit so that I am feeling competent? Every day, do something that fosters confidence inside of you. So there's a lot of folks that struggle with social anxiety. There's a lot of people that feel like, and I can relate to this because I felt this way for a long time in my life, that our thoughts, feelings, emotions, opinions, beliefs, needs, wants, dreams, desires didn't hold any value. They were not valid, and they were unworthy of being heard, seen, or realized. So we want to do something every single day that fosters confidence, that allows us to step into our own power, that allows us to feel good about who we are, that we know that our morals and ethical beliefs or our integrity that is driving us is good, it's solid. And you want to do something every day that you are good at, something that you already know you're good at, and do that. You also want to do something every day that fosters learning something new. And And then you want to write each one of these things down. Like, what did I do today that fostered feelings of being competent, confident, that allowed me to feel good at something, that taught me something I didn't know, that again will elevate that confidence. And write it down and keep track of it, because the more that we know what works, right? Go back, I don't know how many weeks, but doing what works and being effective is a way to condition thoughts, feelings, actions, beliefs to be in line with how you want to see yourself experiencing living. So you can even do this exercise. Think about it and write it down. The top 5 skills that you use the most. So for my clients that are listening, or people that follow me often and have been on this 29-week journey, that was not announced as being a 29-week journey. And the only reason I'm accentuating it is because where we're moving on from here, starting next week, we're going to be moving into esteem building activities. And it's going to be an amazing 12-week journey. So be ready for that. Anyway, write down the top 5 skills that you're using the most. And I don't mean necessarily, functional skills. I'm talking about, well, I guess they're functional also, but I'm talking about those skill sets and tactics, the psychological pieces that allow you to filter, the words of another person and not take it personally, and be able to realize what parts of it is about them and what parts are for you. And that's your boundary system, the filtrating boundary system, if you don't know what that is. So that might be one of your top skills. It might be the art of pause. It might be the stop sign visualization. It might be reframing and refining your thoughts to be more productive for you. It might be impulse control. It might be some of those things that are contained within distress tolerance. It might be emotion regulation for you. It might be assertiveness, that open, honest, genuine, transparent, authentic way of operating, being, and showing up in your life. You have to know what they are, but list those top 5 skills that you use the most. And if you don't know, take some time to observe. Self-observation is the best way to figure out where we've become complacent and where we are exhibiting strengths. Which brings me to the next one. What are your biggest skill strengths? And then you want to write those down. What are my biggest strengths? And then ask yourself, wow, how can I improve on them? Because nothing is ever finished. And that's why I love the aspirations, because we may learn something, we may cultivate something, we may condition something, but then from there it can continue to expand. I literally log in multiple times a week and listen to a lesson or something, even when it's me listening to my own voice, whether it's resiliency, the balance effect, or it's a lesson inside of live free or attain or maintain. It's always something that I can expand on. I can take to a different depth. I can take it to a higher level. There's always something that I can add it to, something new in my life. So how can I improve on these strengths that I have? These skills that I use the most? How can I improve on them even more? How can I, capitalize on that? How can I put that into a different area that I haven't been using them in before? So, that's a great place. Then the next thing you want to write down is another question. And you want to ask yourself, what are the new skills that I want to learn? And that could be something that you've been introduced to, that maybe you didn't really find a need or a purpose for, but you knew you wanted to learn it so that in the event that you do need it, you can know how to utilize it effectively without having to take some big long pause and And then this way you can sit in and move through that uncomfortable situation because you have this skill set there and ready. Some other things that you can do that will absolutely help you create this mastery and really fine tune and hone in on the skills are knowing what activities, what things that you do that give you the most sense of mastery, the things that you feel, I got this, right? Know what those top 5 are. Like, I got this, I know it, because we have to be conditioning it. Skill sets, tactics, processes, thoughts, feelings, emotions. But if they aren't paid attention to, if we're not patting ourselves on our back or acknowledging ourselves or just celebrating ourselves and our dedication to ourselves, to our life's journey, they're not going to be conditioned. They're going to be forgot. They're going to be, just kind of on that back burner on a dusty shelf somewhere, and this is what conditions them. So know what gives you that deepest sense of mastery, that deepest sense of empowerment, that deepest sense of self. Know what those are. And you could do all 3 of those things that I just said, or you can just write one list of 5. The more categories, the more top 5s you have, the more detailed you are, the more it's going to serve you. Then we want to take a look at anywhere you need additional support. You want to ask yourself, where do I need additional support? And that might be training. It could be in a certain area of your regular life. It could be in a certain mindset. Do I need additional support and or training? Do I need more guidance? What are those top 5 areas? We all have them. I know I do. I reached out a couple times this week already. One of them just even to my husband. And I said, I'm like, hey, this is how I'm feeling. This is what I'm experiencing the last 2 days. And he had the answer for me, and it was great. It was amazing. And it worked, and it was helpful. It got me right where I needed to be. I knew exactly what I needed to do so that I could cultivate it. And I woke up this morning and I totally did in a totally better space. And so sometimes it can be as easy as just, saying what's going on, saying it out loud and allowing somebody to give you some feedback and then taking a look at that. And then, sometimes we need a little bit more help, more support. I had some what do you want to call it? The only thing that's coming to mind is IT questions. And so I reached out to a friend in one of my networks that I know, trust, and like, and some technical questions. So we all have, I pride myself on being really good, considering I manage and maintain, all of my platforms. But I had a question. And so I love that, I knew where to look, and that I didn't shy away from asking for help when I needed help. And we all need to be able to do that. Everybody needs a coach. Some of the most successful people have multiple coaches because they have them for the different categories of their life that they want that additional layer of support, of cheerleading or guidance, or that extra set of eyes. I was a swimmer for a really long time, growing up, and my coach was always there to watch my stroke, to help me improve it. He could see things that I couldn't see. He could see things that put me at risk, right? At risk of being disqualified. Just the little, variance of the feet in the butterfly will get you, kicked out of a race, whether you win it or not. So those coaches, they have a purpose. And sure, that was a kind of self-serving comment because I'm a coach, and absolutely any of you are more than welcome to reach out to me at any time. I'm more than happy to help. But anyway, the purpose for this particular episode of Mastering the Drop, the purpose for everything this week and last week is to really inspire you, to intrigue you, to get you interested, right? Because being more interested than interesting is great, a great way to get yourself into a persistent pursuit of happiness and life satisfaction. So the purpose is to get you to look at all of these different parts of your life, the work that you have done up to now, to notice what you do and how you feel, to look for gaps, to identify areas that have a potential to be improved. So many things, so many things. Self-observation. We can't build mastery, which, I don't know if we ever get to mastery. I'm constantly working on mine. Sure, there's lots of things that I've mastered to date, but I'm still on it. I'm still in the journey. I'm still in that persistent pursuit of always, working on life fulfillment, life actualization, and just that planning and that enjoyment and that level of satisfaction that sure didn't start for me, right away. I talk about the long journey, right? Like there's 30 years of a lot of things that I could talk about. And then there's 25 years of a lot of recovery journeys that I can talk about. Your body image, body dysmorphia, anorexia, eating disorders, food addictions, trauma, assaults, all the things, that really fostered a need for a recovery journey. And then there's the reliance on all these things outside of me. Again, food, alcohol, prescriptions, shopping. There was a period of time where it was like, oh man, if I really wanted to be invigorated and feel super good, all I had to do is go out and find a really cool, unique pair of shoes. And that was it. Like there was so much of my life that I relied on things outside of myself to bring me peace, joy, comfort, relief, a sense of value, validity, and worthiness we could literally talk for hours. And this journey, this transition of getting into a space where I don't rely on things outside of me at any given time to bring me peace, joy, comfort, relief. And I need to find that all within myself. Sure, I have some really great relationships that I value very, very much, that really fill me from a social perspective, that really help me, engage in development, professionalism, all of the things, but it's not a reliance, it's more of a fulfillment. And so there's a difference there. And I think it's really important that we're always looking for those differences. If how I'm doing it isn't creating the outcome that I desire, but I know that it'll work if I just get it right, what do you got to get right about it? Is it the headspace? Is it the messaging that's going on inside of your head? What is it? Sometimes it's just like the smallest little tweak and adjustment, but we can get to a space of feeling fulfilled in living life. Anyway, again, I thank you so much for being here and joining me. This is really all I wanted to share with you today. Hopefully you got something very useful out of it. Again, rewatch, rewind, push pause, go to the YouTube channel later on. It'll be uploaded. Take some notes. I'm going to post this list of items that I just went through. If anything is actually resonating with you, if you need any help, guidance, direction, don't hesitate to reach out. You can do that in the comments. You can do that in a private messenger. You can send me an email, a text message. Doesn't matter. I'm here. This is my purpose, right? So this is why I'm here. Anyway, again, thank you so much for being here. I look forward to seeing you again next week. Again, we're going to be going on a very spectacular journey. and moving into cultivating the esteem that we need in our life in so many different categories and on so many different levels. And I'm talking from food to our internal beliefs to our relationships with others, no matter how close knit, or where they are in our sphere of influence, whether that's our nucleus, our inner circle, our outer circle, and even in our toxic circle. We got to have confidence in this team, right? So we're going to be looking at a lot of things over the coming 12 weeks or so. So follow along. We are definitely on a very purposeful journey. There is a method to what we're doing. And again, I thank you for being here. Talk to you next week. Be well.